2021. Speaking with the one and only Honeybee
Yes,
of
yes.
one of the really interesting street tribes, or some people say street gangs, that existed and still members are older now, and they do a lot of community work. So once again, just as I'm being pulled closer, is J. Bailey Morgan for another edition of New Millennium Oral History Archives in the city of New York, Thursday, 15 April 2021, or also known as Tax Day. And I'm here with Honeybee, who was a warlord in an important street tribe, or some people would say street gang, called the Black Spades, which existed principally in the Bronx, and there were divisions all over. And how the group started, and the activities they were involved with, and they were a very politicized group, not just folks making a lot of noise and disrupting the community. So we have this wonderful opportunity to hear from you and for you to talk about it and tell your testimony.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Start from the top, as they would say.
All right. To begin with, I would like to try to rectify the terms Black Spades as being a game. We was never a game, per se. The media labeled us with that title because of our various fights, among street gangs, which is reasons that we fought with them in terms of them walking through our neighborhood being disrespectful, or they had put their hands
So
on
maybe
the
what you
spade.
can do, maybe what you can do is mention the year, the start time,
Okay, the
or the
start
provenance
time
of the
for
group, which is
me-
really like 1965. Black Space started approximately
all right, so-
circa
all right.
1965, and it started in the Bronx. You
Yes.
got in at the age of about 12,
13.
13, in about 1969, or
Yeah, somewhere around that 69,
So you-
1970,
you joined in 69.
Yes.
Right. You joined the Black Spades in 1969.
Black Spades,
Right.
yes. And we definitely formed in the Bronx. As far as I know, the reason why the Black Spades came together was because of our personal interests within our communities. We had a dope epidemic back then, and it was kind of sad that, the young, including myself, had role models such as dope fiends and dope dealers, this, that, and the third. And we wanted something better for the young. We wanted to protect our community, and we wanted to protect the elderly as well. And we set out to do this. Because of this, you had street gangs, various street gangs.
You want to mention some of the names?
Oh
such
man,
as
we had Black
Golden Guineas.
We had
and
Black
the Italian and
Assassins.
Irish American group, the Black Assassins,
We had Golden Guineas, yes. We had
Savage
Golden
Nomads.
Savage Nomad, Ghetto Brothers. We had Reapers, Royal Javelin, 7 Immortals, Shingling Nomads, 7 Nomads, and the list go on and on and on. I can't really name them all. Reapers.
Who would you say which group would you say out of all the various street tribes would be the oldest?
Would be the
In
oldest.
formation.
Well, in formation, I believe that the Shingling Nomads was out there before we were.
Right. Is it the Shingling?
Shingling Nomads.
Uh-huh.
Yes, Shingling Nomads was out there before we were. We wasn't really recognized in the beginning because we were a small group.
You all later grew into.
And later on, we grew and we
particularly in
became
the early
larger
70s,
than
late 60s.
Yes, and we became larger than any other organization.
And you all helped. We're going to try to get into this. You all spawned or developed what later people came out of the hip hop movement.
Yes,
such as,
well,
Africa
if you
Bambaataa
ask me,
and KRS-One,
yes, if you ask
Zulu
me,
Nation.
hip hop was really a Black Spade thing because it all developed around us. You know what I'm saying? People wasn't really out there, rocking radio boxes on the streets, this, that, and the third. But we were.
Right,
You know
you
what
all
I'm
had
saying?
this sort of cultural, artistic
Yes.
arm that you all approved, as you told me last night when we were talking
Yes.
off camera. You mentioned that you all gave the go-ahead
Yes, yes. Well,
folks like
Africa
Africa
Bambaataa.
Bambaataa developed a kind of
Right.
cultural arm.
Yes, well, Africa Bambaataa man came to my ears with the permission to upbring the Zulu nation after the many TV series Shaka Zulu. He was given permission to do just that, and of course he formed the group, and they became a very successful organization. The hip hop scene began, you know what I mean? Break dancing began, and everything just came to life. The disco era.
Scholars usually peg the start of hip hop to about 1973.
Well,
so it's about, we're 2021,
Yeah.
April 2021, so they're about 48 years old.
Yes.
From the time, the founding moment is Sedgwick Avenue.
Yeah, well,
the South Bronx,
definitely
really the
Sedgwick
West
Avenue.
Bronx.
You know what I'm saying? As soon as you say that, the first name that comes to my mind is Cool Herc. Because Herc B, he used to throw his house parties. You know what I'm saying? Herc is the person.
But he lived on Sedgwick Avenue.
He lived on Sedgwick Avenue.
In the housing project.
Yes, he
It's
did.
called
Yes, he did.
NYCHA Housing.
Right.
New York City
Yes, he
Housing
did.
Authority. Yeah.
Yes, he did. God bless him. You know what I'm saying?
He's still with us.
Yes, he is. He's still with us, and he's one of my best friends as of today. You know what I'm saying? We didn't get along too well back in the day because he didn't like us coming up in his parties because he said we always started so yes. You know what I mean?
Well, the parties were outdoors. They were
The parties, her parties was mostly inside. Back then we had what we call house parties.
right.
You see what I'm saying?
But in
and
the summer they would put the DJ equipment and everything outside.
Yeah, well, yes. But see, that all started, you know what I mean, even with the house parties, because the reason the streets became familiar with the music and we started building the music out on the street is because when her came to house parties, there were so many of us, you understand what I'm saying, that we wound up partying outside as well as inside.
So the apartment was packed, and then you all were in the hallway.
Yes, we all were.
And that was in a project.
Yeah, it's in the project. You know what I mean?
And those hallways are
yes, yes. It was always what you can say. I say very excited.
Right. And you must have been particularly young because
Yes,
you're
I
only
did.
66 now.
Yeah, I'm 65.
You're 65, even younger.
Yes, yeah.
So you must have been around 13, 14.
Yes, 13, 14
So you
years.
were running with the older.
I was running with
Cats.
the older, yes, I was running with the older cats. There was a lot of people my age as well, and I was considered to be one of the older cats, because I look at it like we were speaking last night, and I called Shotgun Rob, and I said, Rob, he asked me how old you were, and we thought you was in the same. Rob said, no, I'm 63. I said, wow, Rob, I'm older than you.
Rob
Yes,
is 63?
Shotgun Rob is 63. You know what I'm saying? God bless him. You know what I mean?
I thought he was older.
I thought he was older too.
Simply because the years
Yes.
of the Spades when they started to emerge is that mid 60s.
Yes.
And
60s.
so the earliest people who were, at the forefront
Right.
of the movement
Right.
must have been today, 70, 71, like DJ Kool Herc.
Yeah.
Gotta be 70, and the hip hop movement.
Well,
he's one of the founders.
Yeah, yes he is. But some people get it twisted. It's like me. A lot of people thought that I was older. And I always thought that I was younger. And come to find out that I'm older than a lot of my peers. You know what I mean?
I think you all just got an early start.
We had an
Early
early start in
yeah.
life, you know what I mean? And when we took to the streets early, I come from a very strict family.
Right, you come out of Chicago. You come out of the
I
Midwest.
come from Chicago, moved to the Bronx when I was about 5 years old.
With your father,
With my
your brother.
father, who happened to be a professional entertainer. My father was a tap dancer. He played at the Apollo Theater. I met all type of celebrities.
So the Honeybee is your moniker, your nickname. So
Honeybee
Honeybee come
became
from the
my
tap
nickname.
dancer. The tap dancer was Honey.
No. My name
Honey
didn't
Cold.
stem from that.
Did
the
they
Honey
name-
Cold.
did they name-
No.
Okay.
It's no connection with that.
Is your father a vocalist or
No, he
instrumentalist?
was a tap dancer. My father was a tap dancer. Yes, my father taught down in Washington He taught Shirley Temple some steps. He had the opportunity to dance with old Django's, the Hine brothers, the Nicholas brothers. Yes, God bless my father. And I tell people about this, and they don't believe it because of my status. But I say you can't compare my status with my father. That's my father. That was his thing.
Yeah, he had different.
Yes, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
But, and which led me to my life because my father was very strict, like I was saying. And because of the strictness, I broke away from home. I broke away from home and I took to the streets.
When you came to New York?
Yes, when I came years later. Like I said, I
When
came to New York when I was
Chicago,
5 years old.
Yeah, when you all left Chicago, your family moved straight to the Bronx.
Straight to the Bronx. Straight to the Bronx. Yes, we moved up on 1230. I never forget it. 1230 Boston Road. You know what I'm saying? 1230 Boston Road. That's where we first moved. And from there, we moved to 1937 Davidson Avenue. And that's where it really all began. On Davidson Avenue. I was a young teenager. Very aggressive, very exciting, very energetic. You know what I mean?
So how were you able to get involved in street tribal life or gang life?
Well, I got involved with the Black Spade organization. I keep saying organization because I never believed that we were a gang. I was never told by my peers that we were a gang. I was always told that we were an organization. Gangs and organizations is different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that there were street tribes that were conscious and politicized.
Right.
I mean, you look at people who came out of and formed Young Lords, first in Chicago and then in New York, and Fred Hampton helped politicize a number of gangs in Chicago where you came from.
Right.
That's before your time.
Right.
Really, because you had left Chicago by then.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
By the time Fred died.
Yes, yes, I did. I left Chicago.
Right, he died in December 4th, 69.
Yes, and I still maintain contact with my family out in Chicago today. You know what I mean?
Let's talk about the Black Spades because I know you all are looking to document some of the history.
Yes, we would like to document. We feel that it's time to document some of our history, some of our experience because of what's going on today with the gangs that we have.
Can you talk about some of the community activities that the Spades were involved with?
Today?
No, then.
Well,
were they involved in some?
Yes, we was always involved in community structure. As far as play streets is concerned, we made sure
opening up the streets,
opening up the streets, give the children a place to, to exhaust their energies. You know what I mean? The family was able to trust them to be up out of the house, knowing that they was right there in the hood. We had attendants, so to speak, that kept their eye on the children, make sure that everything was all right. This prevented children.
When you came in, you saw those activities.
Yes.
When you got in
when I came in, this was before. Yeah, I saw the activity as it came into play. You see what I'm saying? I was there before.
Oh, so before
the play streets and all that.
Would you say it was less community oriented before?
Yes, it was less community oriented. You know what I'm saying? Our communities was more like, everybody was neighbors. Like everybody spoke to everybody, and the adults looked out for the kids. Like everybody caught an ass whooping from everybody. I catch an ass whooping from Miss Shirley and let my mother know what went down, and my mother would tear my ass up. And then when my pops get home, he would get the information, and he would tell my, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the community was always entwined with one another. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of racism going on back then.
Now, it was just you and your father and your brother?
No, it was me, my father, my stepmother, and I had 3 brothers. You know what I'm saying? One was my full-blooded brother, my oldest brother. He went by the name Cool C.
Cool C.
Yeah, he went by the name Cool C. We had 2 Cool C, God bless them. We lost one not too long
like
ago.
The cigarette? The old cigarette?
Well, I don't know why he got his name.
K-O-O-L. I think
Yeah.
K-O-O-L. K-O-O-L or
Yeah.
C-O-O-L?
C-O-O-L. Yeah, K-O-O-L.
Like the cigarette.
Yeah, you like the cigarette, yeah.
Cool,
You know? But I don't know how they came about their name. You know, my name was came in on another note. I was named by the young ladies in my neighborhood. I'll never forget when I first got the name Honeybee. And
How old were you?
I despised that name. I was about 15. I despised that name. I didn't like the name. The name sounded too feminine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I couldn't understand why Peaches and Shirley and Bessie
Well, young
gave
ladies
me
are giving you that name. It's an honor. So.
Right. Well, you know, the name stuck with me, and you know, I made something for me. It became a name because our idol Muhammad Ali, and I saw that as being a prophet from his rhymes, looked like a butterfly,
Sting like a bee.
because I was quick with my hands, and I was there, you know, to more or less take up for any of my friends. That's one of the things that the Black Spades did. Our laws was, you touch one spade, you touch us whole. You understand what I'm saying? And spades do not belong spade. You know what I mean? And we can take
How
each
did
other
the name
by
come?
any-
How did they come with the name Black Spades? Is it from the card?
I don't know how the name Black Spade came out about. I would have to ask my my overseers, Monk, Coach, God bless him, the guys that were before me.
I think I met
believe
Monk
that
at one of the things,
Yes.
events that you will have. A lot of folks are now a lot older. How old would Monk be?
Well, Monk, I believe Monk is in the 70s. Monk is like maybe 71, 72.
He was there from the beginning. He
Yes,
was there at
Monk
the
was there
creation.
from the beginning. Yes, that's my heart. That to me, that's my overseer, Monk, because
So when you
he was
say
back then.
overseer, some people know it has other connotation, but that means
When I
he's
say
above you in terms of
he's
rank
above me,
and
and he's
terms
up
of-
in my
terms of
eyesight. He's above
seniority.
me. Yes, he's above us all.
Right. So he's above all the divisions
Yes.
of the Black Spades.
Yes, you know what I'm saying?
And,
Because
and today the Spades exist, and it's largely a community-oriented organization. It's fully that today, and for the last 20, 30 years.
absolutely,
Okay, and there are divisions in multiple cities.
multiple cities. Yes,
Can you name
multiple
some of the cities?
We have California.
California.
We have Alabama. We have Philadelphia. We have New Jersey. We have Miami.
And in New York, you're in several of the boroughs.
Yes, and we in every borough.
And New York is the original.
Every borough.
And
Yes.
New York is the original.
New York
home of
is
the
the
Black Spades.
From my knowledge, yes, New York is the original Black Spades, was created right here in New York City. I bring up the name, like I said, Monk, Coke, Dave. You know what I mean? These are the people that I looked up to. These are the people that I see as being my superior. In fact, if they said he, I would say ha. And it was just that simple.
Is there an individual who is considered the founder of this Black Spades?
Well, the
Or
names
just
that I
existing?
mentioned are the founders
They're
to
the
me.
founders, yeah.
Yes, they are the founders. My overseer Monk would be able to give you more information on
Absolutely.
that than me.
We will be
because
talking
he
to
was
some of
there.
the other members
Yeah.
and folks organizing the Black Spades. But so you just to run through this quickly. So you came to New York. You went to primary school in the Bronx.
Yes.
You know, you probably were in the 4th or 3rd grade when you started.
Yes. Yes.
And then you went to high school.
Yes.
In the Bronx. So everything was in the Bronx.
Everything was in
as
the
you
Bronx.
say.
Everything in the Bronx. You know, I went from elementary school, PS 26,
Right.
to junior high school,
Now,
PS 82.
was your continue? Sorry.
Yeah, PS 82.
And then
but
the
like I
secondary
said,
school or high school was which one?
Yes, well, you know, I was down from high school to high school, but like I said, I was very energetic. I had a lot of
What are some of the high schools you went to?
I went to PS 82, I went to
Well, high
PS
school.
143, 141, PS 80. High school I went to.
Went to all
I went to all those schools. But like I said, I
all
was
those
very,
public schools, yeah.
Yes.
And then after the 8th grade, what are some of the high schools you went
The high school I went to was JFK. The only high school I went to. Yes, because after JFK, that's where I gave up on school.
to? Things
Because I
started
became
getting
a father.
things started getting
Yes, things started getting a little more serious, more maturity started to set in. I had to take responsibility of taking care
And
of
so
my family.
you were there in JFK and Kennedy High School in the Bronx.
Yes, when it first opened. Yes, yes, I remember when they opened it. I was
I
born
think it
in
opened in
Riverdale.
the mid to late 60s,
No,
1960s.
no. Yeah, John F. Kennedy opened up in the 70s. Yes, it opened up in
And
the
it
70s.
was co-education or was it all boys?
No, it was co-ed. Yes, very co-ed. I know it's co-ed. I never forget that because the day I dropped out of school, you get what I'm saying, my kid's mother followed me. You know, because on my way out, she said, well, hey, where we going? I said, man, I had enough of this. She said, wait for me, I'm coming with you. You know, and we broke that off together. You know what I mean? Sadly, the
So that now let me just ask you. I asked you this off camera earlier. How many street tribes and gangs? Because some of them were just gangs. How many street organizations were there? That were commonly referred to as gangs. You know, in the vernacular. But I know that some of them were politicized and conscious.
Like I said, we could go on with that number. That number, I
Would you say
can't
20,
really
25?
I would say it was more than 25. I would say
And
it was
you
more
also
like
say-
30 to 40s. You know what I'm saying? Because it was so many gangs, so many gangs.
You also told me that New York City probably had the highest concentration of these street organizations,
Yes.
street tribes, gangs.
Right.
New York, not Chicago,
Not Chicago.
not LA.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I say that because, like I said, you know, I'm from Chicago and I'm right here in New York. I could be wrong, but I've never
think you're
seen
right. I
so
think you're right.
many
Yeah.
different gangs
Because it's such a
and
big
organizations
city. Yeah.
there in New York.
You got 5 boroughs.
That's
you
right.
got-
That's
yeah,
right.
That's
Five
right.
boroughs and like I said, we're all
And it's a big urban center.
big urban center. Big
That
urban
probably is
center.
what counts
Yes.
for
Yes.
the number. You know, for the large amount of gangs. That probably what it counts for.
Right.
And you were what's referred to as a warlord.
I was a warlord of
You
the
must have been a very
homicide
young-
squad connected to the 18th Division, given to me by
So you-
my
what squad
president,
was
man.
that?
Homicide squad.
Homicide squad.
Yes, you know, I proudly wear that. I proudly wear that. You know what I'm saying? Because we was considered to be no nonsense. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we would laugh, we would play and have fun and talk all day and do whatever. But when it came down to it, we got hands and butts.
What were
Because
some
we
of the-
believed in the organization. In other words, if we had a problem with gangs on the street that violated our codes, and we set out to do what had to be done. No ifs, ands, and buts.
So what were the infractions? I mean, did they just somebody disrespected?
Disrespect, yes. You know, it's like, man, I'm a black spade. And if I walk through a ghetto brother territory, then I would be humble. You understand what I'm saying? I would show them the utmost respect. You understand what I'm saying? Because I understand that I'm on their turf. And I understand what they do. You know, but to walk through their hood, you understand what I'm saying? With my chest stuck out, being rowdy, making noise, and acting like, you know what I'm saying, I was over there, then that would cause them to flip on me. You know what I'm saying? So whenever we had individuals that walked through our territory with such manners, correct, right there.
Such lack of manners, you would
Right.
say. Yeah.
You know, because you walk through our territory, you're going to show respect. And if you don't show respect, you understand what I'm saying? We're going to teach you respect. We don't start trouble with nobody. Like I said, I told you before, never started trouble. I never known black slaves to start any trouble. I have always known us to finish.
What I want to get to is the activities, the anti-drug activities, right? Because I mean, it was about thwarting or stopping when we don't enter the community.
Yes.
With that aspect. I mean, the Panthers were involved. The Black Panthers,
Right.
political organization.
Yes.
At the height of their political movement, it was really
Yeah.
a lot of it was before some of them succumbed to the vices of drug addiction and so on. but they had a whole thing about stopping dope from flowing into the community.
Right, right. Well, that's true. Even I had a big thing against drug dope. You know what I'm saying?
We're talking primarily about heroin.
Yeah, to see some of my friends strung out on that stuff, really hurt my heart. I went down into a shooting gallery one day.
Shooting gallery, just so the listenership is
Yes,
a place, an apartment where people go and,
yes,
and
do
shoot
their
up.
things. Nothing
Generally
but,
with needles,
nothing but
shooting
dope.
up heroin and
Yes, what was revealed to my eyes, was just sad and disgusting. You know what I mean? And I never knew my friend was like that. You know what I'm saying? It was devastating. I was really big on that. I would not allow for no dope to come through my neighborhood. I would allow for nobody in my division.
So would you say
a part of that?
you would say that the Spades did not traffic?
No,
in
Spades
any
did not
deal.
traffic drugs. One thing the Spades were about back then was keeping drugs out of the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Marijuana.
Was the Spades involved in anything else?
You know.
I mean, you don't have to talk about it or or mention any names or anything, but I mean, just
Well, we was involved with, the whole outlook of the community, just trying to better our community, just trying to recognize everybody that came within our community. If you wasn't known, then you were stopped. You were stopped. You was stopped and you was questioned as to why you was walking through this neighborhood and who are you. Because back then your area was your area and you basically knew
and how
everyone that
big
came
was the
through there.
geographic area
You
in the
know?
Bronx that you all?
Well, my area was pretty
was
big. It was pretty
turf.
big. My turf ran from 176 in Davidson all the way to like 185th and Webster Avenue.
In the Bronx.
In the Bronx.
In the South Bronx.
Because this was all Black Springs territory. Park Avenue, Davidson, Webster. We was all over. We also had gangs within our areas, but we more or less had a peace treatment. We had an understanding, we had a form of truth. So they was about what we were about. You understand what I'm saying? If things got a little out of control and we needed allies, we was able to call upon them. Our number one allies was the peacemakers. You know what
Now,
I'm saying?
were they? I know you mentioned them earlier off camera. Were they a street tribe or a community organization?
The peacemakers, I consider them such as we were. An organization. You know what I'm saying? Love them. You can't tell me that a peacemaker is not a black spade and a black spade is not a peacemaker. That's how tight we were. Wherever we went, they went. Wherever they went,
And they were formed after the Black Spades.
Yes, they was formed after the Black Spades. I
Do they
never
still-
really looked at that, but we got so deep that we both shared colors. We had spade makers and maker spades. Actually, our colors on our patches on our jackets. So people could identify us as
And
being
the cut
one.
off jean jackets and Black Spades.
Yes. People had to identify us as being one. You know what I'm saying? So they were our number one allies. They was in fact our brothers and our sisters. And to this very day, I love them. If they was to call upon me for anything, I would be there. I would be there. Any black spade.
Did the message of the Spades, which was community, evolved into kind of community organization, did that filter down to the members where they got out of whatever negative lives they were living? Let's say.
Well, I'll tell you
shooting up
like
heroin
this. Yeah, I'll tell you
or
like this.
crime.
For some people, yes. Some people, it brought them back down to earth, so to speak, where they wasn't messing with that stuff. Later on in life, as I can't really speak on it, because like I said, I went upstate. I did so much time that a lot of things changed. So of course we have brothers and sisters that's dealing with narcotics of today. And I believe the trap off was.
When you say dealing with narcotics, meaning having challenges
Well,
with
they're
drugs.
affiliating and they're probably using. And the reason being is that the trap off came from like when we was coming up. You smoke a joint, you pass the joint. A new drug showed on the set, you know what I'm saying, that was was considered to be, not heavy drugs. You know what I'm saying? You pass it around. So when this thing called crack came out, I was already locked up. But I saw the cycle. I saw how it got into my people and other people as well. Because they're thinking that it's in the form of marijuana.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I heard back then they had bowls, and you light it up and you'll see a cloud of smoke. Whereas their mom was saying, right, but they didn't know that. They was literate to it. They really didn't know.
They soon saw the effect of it. And
So it was, right. Absolutely. So it was more like a trap off for them. And by the time we realized it, a lot of it was slung out on the program. You know what I'm saying?
So in the 11th grade, you left John F. Kennedy High School.
Yes, I left.
Bronx.
I left.
And you were still, of course, you were into spades.
Yes.
And then do you want to talk about a pivotal moment for you at that point? Whatever it is that you wanted to say that happened in 79, and then if you want to talk about, you mentioned, time in the incarceral system.
Well, it was a halified experience for me, and a very awakening experience as well, because while I was laying up in Bronx County going back and forth to trial, I called one of my friends who informed me that my blood brother, Dr. Tibbs, who introduced me into the organization of the Black Spades, had got killed. You know what I mean? And,
Was it about rival gang?
No, it was not about rival gang. You know what I mean?
So back to you were saying something.
Yes, I was saying that no, it wasn't a rival gang that caused me his life or anything. And I was locked up from what I understand. It happened in a club called the Galaxy 2000. I don't know the exact
club, was it a dance club?
Yes, it was something like the Disco Fever, something like the Evil, the Executive Playhouse, the Puzzle, the Black Door. We had so many clubs.
And it was in the Bronx.
It was in the Bronx.
So the incident, that landed you in the incarceral system or the prison system.
Well, the incident that landed
resulted from.
Yeah, no, it was something I've done on my own because, like I said, I became more or less like obligated to deal with my responsibilities. And
when you say that, you mean supporting your family?
Supporting my family, absolutely.
Being able to feed your family and so on. So you got involved in some other activities.
I got involved with other activities
that
was outside of the guidelines of the Black Spades.
Right.
I would like to stress.
Exactly.
Because I don't like Black Spades receiving, assassinating.
So that activity was your personal, illicit or illegal activity.
Absolutely.
And it resulted in you
going to prison.
And having, you could do a little documentary about the whole thing. You want to say, was it what involved?
Well, it involved
that's up to you.
It involved in a robbery. Right. It involved in a robbery right there on one side of Jordan Avenue. Yes,
in the
Boogie Down.
Before it was known as the Boogie. Before it was known as the Boogie Down.
That's right. That's right.
That came later.
And it was a jury sport.
And there was a shootout with NYPD.
It was a shootout with NYPD.
You were involved with it.
Yes, everything, in the course of me trying to get away.
And you were young.
Yes, I was young.
You were
saying?
You were in your early 20s.
Absolutely, and I'm just thinking about getting my hands on a quick dollar. Right. So my daughter.
And nobody was killed. So
nobody was killed.
Make that clear.
No, nobody was killed. People was hurt.
Right.
But no one was killed.
People were injured, but nobody was killed.
Absolutely.
But you wound up getting a long stretch.
Yes, I got a long stretch, and it was something that I copped out to. I didn't take it to trial. No, because I was dead ass wrong. Why should I go to trial with something that I know I was wrong for?
Okay.
For me to go to trial, you understand what I'm saying? I probably would still be locked up. You know what I'm saying? But to take a plea of 15 to 30, I'm saying, that is. You know, when they get that right here, because I'm young, I'm aggressive, you know. I did the crime and I'm going to do the time.
So off camera, you told me. So how much time did you actually?
I did a total of 34 because I caught a bid while I was in jail. I caught a case while I was in jail. Yes, I caught a
Sorry, what does that explain?
Well, that means that, you know, I had an altercation while I was locked up with another individual. It got kind of serious, you know, in prison. You understand it, right? And I did what I had to do. Again, no one got murdered, you know, but I laid my strength down. Yes, okay. I laid my strength down. I laid my strength down. The guy pressed charges, and behind that, I was given a 3 to 6. Given a 3 to 6, and that's how I wound up doing the 34
consecutively.
Consecutively, yes. You know, I mean, parole.
So just imagine coming out of the 70s, late 70s.
Yeah.
And you're in there from 79 or 80.
79. My number 79, 8, 15, 23. Those are numbers you would never forget.
Do you play them?
You know,
play the numbers?
I don't play them. I disregard them. They only pop into my head at moments like this when I'm speaking to them. I try to retire them numbers.
Well, it's retired.
Yes, because
you're doing important work.
Yes, I'm
and so
doing important
that
work.
happened when you were a young adult. So,
right.
You know, I think people understand that in a number of communities there were a lot of challenges.
Yes, and we made bad
decisions. There were so many things that were just readily, you know, people were readily, a lot of knuckleheaded things that people didn't think things through. And they didn't think things through in any community, whether it's a black, brown, or white community. When you're young and you know, if you're in the streets, you can be pulled into any number of things.
Right, because at that age, you think you got the answer to it all. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You're bullheaded, people try to give you advice, you don't want to hear nothing. You think people was trying to tell you things instead of looking at them trying to tell you, they're just trying to do it.
Let me ask you this. So did you have, you said you grew up in a strict household.
Yes.
Were your folks churchgoers or?
Well, not necessarily. My father, he always told me he was Catholic, but my father was always, like I said, he was an entertainer. You know what I'm saying? Atlantic City 500 Club, Royal River Hotel, Miami, Florida.
He was a headliner. Your father was a headliner.
Yes, he was a headliner.
What's your father's full name?
Bobby Ephraim Sr.
Bobby Ephraim
Sr.
So he opened up for, let's say, well, he was a headliner, you're saying?
Yes, he was a headliner. You know, these things you can look up.
No, we will. You can. What you'll do is you can send some of the memorabilia, some of the pictures that you have, and then we'll also attach it to this edition.
Okay. I just passed one. You probably can see that. See what said Bobby from World Great, and that's in the newspaper. That's my fault.
He has that Jackie Wilson.
Yeah. Well, you know that's back in the day. You know.
Well, definitely what we're gonna do is
that's my fault.
To have some of the photos so we can because it's part of the oral history. We want people to tell their stories.
Yeah. They call my pops Muhammad Ali attacks.
He must have been excellent.
Oh yes, he was.
So he was performing until what, the 80s or?
My father performed until he died. That's when he died in Chicago. Heartfelt.
You got to talk a little louder.
Heartfelt. Yes, my father. Yeah, he died heart attack in 98. 98. Yes, he felt heartfelt.
Now, I was trying to see. I was trying to see what sort of barriers people have when they're growing up, particularly in the inner city. I grew up in the inner city. I grew up, you know, where I grew up on like 43rd, between 100th and 7th Avenue. My grandparents were there early when we came from Latin America. That's where we were.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was they became an extremely challenging spot to be in much later.
Right.
But so you weren't in church or
no,
Scouts?
I wasn't really a church going
or like the Boy Scouts or any of these?
No.
Kind of
No, well, I was in the Sea Cadets. I went to Sea Cadets, which was very short, you know, because it was too disciplined. You know what I mean? And me being who I was, you know, it was hard for me to follow rules and regulations.
So did you bristle at your father and your stepmother giving you advice to
Yes, that's
slow down? And,
yes, I did. Like I said,
and the street just called
the
us a
streets,
siren call.
the streets
A
called
siren
me.
call, yeah.
Yeah, the streets called me. I went to the streets. See what I'm saying? I've always been rebellious. I said that. You know, whenever my father whooped my ass, I would turn around and bug out on one of my brothers, or I would go down the stairs, maybe beat up my best friend. You know what? Yeah, because you know that's how I took it. I just didn't understand that. Put their hands on me. You know what I mean? And you know that would cause me to run away from home. Came up to school one day and the principal, you know, they lied on me, this, that, but I knew my father and he tell me, son, when you get home, don't look to the left, don't look to the right, bring your ass straight home. So when I got out of school, I looked to the left and I looked to the right, but I did not take my ass straight home. And that was the last that I saw home. You know what I'm saying? I left home when I was 13, 14 years old. And I never went back home.
I was wondering when people say that, and that's happened to a number of people. Where did people 13 or 14 go?
Well, you got to remember, you know, I was in the black space.
So you had a family
organization. We had clubhouses. See what I'm saying? I had my own clubhouse, you know, over there on Grand Avenue. You know, right.
And you told me about the membership. There's a membership. That's how the Spade survived.
Yeah.
You had dues.
Yeah, we paid dues
What
bi-weekly.
were the dues?
The dues wasn't much at all back then for us. You know what I'm saying? $5, you know, was due. You know what I'm saying? If you couldn't put in $5, you know what you can't.
Did people have part-time jobs?
No, no, not really. You know, but however they was getting money. You know, some people was getting allowances from their family or whatever it is right now. You know, some people out there doing whatever it is they do. Me myself, I hustle a chocolate. You know what I'm saying? A chocolate. You know,
Oh, you made
dice in
the
the
three
cup
card-
and you got
the
the
three
board.
card Monte.
That's right. Chocolate, try your luck. Boy, you put down the board.
Did you just call it three-card Monte?
Well, no, 3-card Monte was with the cards. See what I'm saying? Chocolate is with 3 dice in the cup. You shake it up. And you put a cup down.
I've seen that too. That is
See what I'm saying? And wherever they place their money at, if it matches with the dice, they win. If they don't, I win. 9 out of 10, I win. You know what I'm saying? So I
One of
kept
those
money.
heads you win.
Yes, I also had a shoe shine.
Tails, somebody loses.
Yes, you know.
You had a shoe shine kid.
Yeah, I also had a shoe shine kid. You know what I'm saying? So I was making.
Now I know you told me that you're like principally was in the Bronx. Did you ever come down to the village of Harlem?
Oh, Harlem is like our cousin. It's in the backyard. You know, I could get on the train and take it, you know, on 161st and take it one stop to 155th, and I'm there.
When you went outside.
I wore my colors when I went to Harlem. Yes, I wore my colors
outside.
because whenever I went to Harlem, I would wear black Spain hat. And wherever I decided to go, you understand what I'm saying? I would wear my colors. Like I said, I was
the
just
colors
humble.
are for just parvenus or people who may not know.
No, we have a
the
law.
colors are just
No, there was a law in our organization. No, we don't remove our colors. No. Wherever I go, I wear my colors. It's how I carry myself and carry them.
Now
Like
you
I said,
also had motorcycles too, right?
no, we didn't have motorcycles back then. We had an organization called the Black Falcons who wanted us to become a part of them.
Black Falcons.
Black Falcons. You know, they had their station was up there on East 180 with Tremont Avenue, and they wanted us to become part of them and supply us with bikes, but we didn't go for that. Okay, no. We understood how large we was, we understood how powerful we were, and we just really wasn't buying into any of that. You know, Black Spade was Black Spade, and that was it. You know what I'm saying?
So we just took a pause here. Normally we do this al fresco, outdoors. The Mahatma Gandhi statue right across the street from this cafe at Barnes and Noble. We do it outside there in front of the Mahatma Gandhi, the apostle of peace, the disciple of India, from India, who influenced Dr. K and many people. But because of the inclement weather, we're inside. So I hope our voices can be heard.
Yes.
We're going to try to speak up, and both of us are going to try to speak up a bit more. So I'm back with you, Terry Ephraim, also known as Honeybee, and who shall be known as Honeybee.
Number one.
Going forward and always. So I wanted to sort of add a sort of final note, a coda, if you like, to the chronicles of the Spades, and talk about, because you were in there until about 1979, and then we'll talk about what happened afterwards. So what were the numbers you would say of this, at the height of the Black Spades organization? What would you say the numbers? Would you say 5,000 people totally? Totally?
No, I say it was...
on all the divisions, because the Black Spades were divided up by divisions, right?
Yes, by division.
And then each division had...
well, like I said, when you come to the 18th division, you can chalk that up 5,000 easily, because you have so many divisions within the division. Like
so
we have the 18
subdivisions?
It's broken out. It means we're all connected.
Right.
So if you got the 18th division, and then you have me, then what I'm saying, Honeybee, Warlord, or the Homicide Squad connected with the 18th division, that means I'm 18th division. See what I'm saying? But I'm with a Homicide Squad. You get what I'm saying? That's just a name we use, not necessarily meaning murder. You understand?
Well, yeah, I wanted you to clarify.
Yeah.
So
just
it was just a name.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you were part of murder.
No, it just identified that we was hard. Right. We was hard, and we was no nonsense. See what I'm saying? So anytime the Homicide Squad came out, we're gonna rectify this, but we ain't gonna do nothing.
Once again, you don't have to mention anything you don't want to mention, but did you all have firearms? And I'm not talking about who used it or whatever.
You gotta remember back then, firearms wasn't really strong.
Exactly.
It was not strong. Back then, we carried chains and sticks and 2x4s and knives and things of that nature.
The prevalence of these so-called Saturday specials, which are these handguns and other guns, wasn't prevalent in the early 70s and late 70s.
Right, it was never
but there wasn't that much firearms in the community.
It was. Well, we could have gotten firearms. We chose not to. Because like I said, our motive wasn't about killing. You understand what I'm saying? Absolutely. It was about unifying. That's what I'm saying. All the games that we went up against and we defeated, all right, was for the sole purpose to unify.
Let me just ask you, Honeybee, why didn't the gang or the street tribe, such as the Black Spade, why didn't they just evolve? Or I know you mentioned to me privately that you all have been asked to join arms with the Black Panther Party.
Yes,
fully implemented.
Yes, we were.
Why didn't let's say your organization join up and become politicized and involved in community activities? All of the programs the Black Panther Party initiated, breakfast program for young kids to have food to eat before they went to school, because a lot of parents didn't have enough food. And issues that centered on housing and issues that centered, all these initiatives came out of the Black Panther Party, early sickle cell anemia testing, and so on, which are diseases that affect particularly Black communities, almost exclusively Black communities. So why didn't you all take that off and just fully go? The Black Panther Party tried to do that in Chicago as well.
Yes, they did.
Blackstone Rangers and a number of others.
Yes, they did.
And some worked, some
became.
became.
You got to understand that, every organization, pride themselves for who they are and what they're doing. We looked up to the Black Panthers, and of course, we was very elated that they wanted to join forces with us. However, we had our own thing. and we had complications within our organization. Black Panther had complications within theirs. So we felt that it was not right for us to just join forces with all these complications going on. We had to first rectify ours, and they had to rectify theirs before we can join the troops. It don't make no sense, joining troops when you got complications on both sides, because now you just bring more problems upon one another.
I think there wouldn't have been any truce because they didn't even have any war.
We had truce. Listen, I'm not saying that we wouldn't together. If the Black Panthers called for us, we would have, but we absolutely. But for us to become a part of it, see what I'm saying? Like, it had too many issues.
I guess I was talking about the issues that were so directly.
Yes.
The issues that they rallied around and effectuated had to do with the community at large.
Yes.
Around, centered on housing issues, medical issues, clinics and law clinics, all sorts of things. So I was just wondering that. But
yes.
you explained it.
Yeah, well.
And you were already a fully formed organization, and you all predate the Panthers by about a year. They were started officially in October of '66 in Oakland, California. But the first iteration, most people don't know, was also in New York.
Right.
So 2 to 3 months before, there's a small iteration of what became the Black Panther Party later in Oakland, 3 months later in October of '66. But anyway, so now the Black Spades you were involved in a lot of activities having to do with community groups. You have a big day in first Sunday
of every August. We call it Old Timers Day. You know what I'm saying? It's not just for the Black Spades. You know what I'm saying? Old Timers Day, you're welcome to come. You're welcome to come to Katona Park. This is a day where you will see all organizations and all gangs join forces today as one.
Yeah, which is just very interesting and good. When did the invitation open to all other street tribes?
Well,
former street tribe members.
I guess,
and of course,
I really can't say, but from what I can gather, it's like years after years, we are all grown now. Right. Our children have followed our footsteps. Some is Bloods, some is Crips, which is another thing that I would have to deal with at a different time. But our 5 years are gone. We still represent who we are. We still represent the community.
You're talking about the older members.
The older members, yes.
These street tribes.
Yes.
But you have some of these older groups, like the Bloods and the Crips, they're still doing just catastrophic.
They're doing things that is forbidden in any organization.
And they're older.
See what I'm saying? When you see blood fighting blood, there's no structure.
And they're old organizations. They've been around since the early 60s in California.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of our things here. Because they LA. You know what I'm saying? I personally despise that because New York, in my heart, in my eyes, have always been number one. So how could y'all allow for LA games to come into New York? Why y'all couldn't be creative and created y'all games? See what I'm saying? And this is how a lot of things started to create chaos.
So
even in the industry, Mute Bad Boy and Jeff Rowe, it became crazy. East Coast, West Coast. It almost got out of hand. You know what I'm saying?
All that bled into foolishness, even in other industries like the music,
absolutely.
And so on. Let me just ask you, Honeybee, what I was trying to sort of so that people can know. What are some of the outreach that you're doing to reach a lot of the young people in the various communities now? Like I'm sure it's issues that center on anti-violence and staying out of the system.
Yes. What we're doing is we have a spokes operation going on where we go to certain centers, schools, and we'll verbally talk to them and try to give them some means of understanding as how to conduct themselves.
Do you also get involved in, let's say, petition drives?
We get involved with all that. We get involved. Yes, we get involved with everything. You know, we're out there. We're feeding the community. We're dressing the communities. You know what I mean? And we're offering housing. We're offering
when you say you offer housing, how are you? How specifically?
Well, we have an organization. We're trying to. Well, no, we're in the process of building up a Black Space headquarters.
Right.
That's what I was going to ask you. We will have contracts.
Do you still have a clubhouse?
Excuse me?
Do you still have a clubhouse?
Well, not per se. We don't even like to consider it as a clubhouse.
Right. Well, you know, a clubhouse.
Out of touch. Hey,
clubhouse is like doing good stuff. Now.
Yeah, right.
Political, community. That's what we're all.
Yeah. Right. Well, what we have is community centers.
Oh, yeah, community centers. Right.
You know, we meet in the community centers, and we'll put certain events together, certain donations together, which we offer to the community.
Are you all doing anything around prison reform?
Well, we're trying to work on that as well, you know what I'm saying, because, you know, the prison system has become a multi-billion-dollar operation, and, you know, it's crazy. Yes, that they would take my life and just use my life for the purpose of a profit. You see what I'm saying? And that's what it's all about. It's not to, how you say, reform. Yes, you know, they don't do that. You go to prison, you come home worse than what you were before you went in there. This is how it's designed.
So, I mean, it's
yes,
just a dumping.
Right.
Unfortunately, happening.
You know what I mean? And it's sad to see how they taking advantage of people, you know what I'm saying, and using them as a profit instead of by means to really, you know,
I mean, the scandals that surround the carceral system is amazing. Even the decennial count, every 10 years, the federal government mandates that you have to count population districts. Well, they count these smaller states and smaller cities and towns count the people in the prison population as you know, to boost up the numbers and thereby receive more federal aid. It's all scandal.
Yes, it's all scandal. It's all scandal. It's all the business and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? But I want to say this as being a Black Spade. You know what I mean? Because it's my belief, man. You understand what I'm saying? That we are being deceived and misled. You know what I'm saying? It's my purpose to try to bring all peoples together. See what I'm saying? Because they got this thing of labeling us as being minorities. When in all actuality, we are the majority. You understand what I'm saying? You know, because you're from a different place, they'll label you, and we'll live by that label.
As a chronicler of the Black Spades, I think you've done a good job in laying out some of the things that people didn't know when they, you hear about street gangs and so on. With more than that going on, and I just wanted you to just say today, in 2021, you see the Black Spades mission as...
I see the Black Spades mission, like I said, man, you know what I'm saying, it's unifying. We have to unify. You know what? Without unifying, we're going to be destroyed. You see what I'm saying?
And to also get a hold of the youth.
Yes, we got to get a hold of the youth. You understand what I'm saying? God gifted man and woman to reproduce. So that's obvious that the young is our future. And if we don't get a hold of them, where are we going to wind up?
With the time is evaporating, so I wanted that's a wonderful thought, and I know that you all are doing that. And when I've gone to a number of Black Spades events in recent years, whether in a block, I haven't been to Katona Park yet because on Sunday I have services I go to.
Please be there this Sunday.
But is it the first Saturday or first Sunday?
First Sunday. Every August. First Sunday.
And it goes until when?
Well, when we normally stay out there all night long, but because of the pandemic and everything else that's going on, law enforcement is trying to shut it down around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, so everybody can be out. You know what I'm saying? So we respect that.
Have you had anybody out of the Spades run for a local office like city council or You
I
must
believe
have.
we have. I can't really get into it. I know we have people.
District leader.
Yes, yes.
You know, for the Democratic Party or.
Yes, well,
something
we
like
have
that.
people in politics that we try to get up in there. We vote for them, and things of that nature.
And particularly the spades, you all have a number, there are probably a number of well-known personalities.
Yes, we do.
On the cultural front.
Yes, we do.
I mean, Africa Bambaataa,
Blood, Rich Green.
KRS-One was probably a cub. Probably a cub.
That's right.
Okay, so, yeah. So, Honeybee, what I was saying is that, the programs that you all have in place are admirable.
Yes.
And completely community-centered, family-oriented. I know that. I go there, you got young kids, you got toddlers, you got grown-ups, you got older people, you got, people, so it's a wonderful thing. Let me just ask you before we go. So, in the time that you spend in that system, do you feel prepared coming out of the prison system?
I feel prepared now more so
You were in
than
there for 34 years.
Yeah.
You said.
I
right?
feel that
Until
I'm
2014, that's when you came out. 79, 2014.
Yes, and I feel more prepared now than ever before because I'm about as mature as I can be. I've been exposed to a lot. I have a lot more knowledge.
Absolutely.
In every area.
And your family, you were in touch with your family?
I'm in touch with my family in
while you were in
Chicago out here. Yes, you know what I mean.
And did the Spades family
Spade,
remember you while you were in there?
Well,
Your Black Spades
no,
family?
we had lost contact, but I represented Spade until the day I was released because when I got arrested, I was a Spade and I represented a Spade up until this very second.
Right.
I will always be a Black Spade. Right. You know what I'm saying? I believe in them wholeheartedly. I believe that it came about for a reason. I believe that our structure will be identified something positive with it.
So as we exit this interview, and it's been educational, and you made all the points, is there anything you want to say or direct anybody to look at in terms of, do you have any social media site or maybe talk for a hot minute, let's say, documenting the chronicles of the Spades? I know that you all have some folks talking about making a film. Documentary and possibly a feature.
Well, we definitely have talks on making a film and letting the world inside the experience of being a Black Spade and what Black Spades is all about. Basically, to reach out to the gangs of today because, like I said, they way off balance. And if they see what we represent and what they should be representing, it might change the whole cycle of what's going on today and bring everything back into its perspective.
That's an excellent upbeat note to end on. Yeah. And I think that you're going to be the chronicler, the principal chronicler, because you're one of the younger members. So you have to make sure you have all the details.
Yes,
and,
sure.
And the history. And
I have some experience that. I would definitely like to reveal on screen.
Well, it's gonna
stuff that was hidden from society, tainted by the media. You know what I mean? And I just want the world to know.
So we wanted this, and I think this conversation turned out to be that way, to be a corrective, to sort of let people know that as a street tribe, you all were involved in these activities that were forward-looking, positive, and upbeat. So thank you for taking out the time, Honeybee, and for New Millennium Oral History Archives and this edition of it. We thank you. New Millennium Oral History Archives in the city of New York. We conduct many of these interviews exclusively dealing with the educational and historical nature of life that came before.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we thank you very much.
And I thank you for having me and let the world know that today I represent the 18th Division Rectify Unit, which means we're trying to correct everything. See y'all in the meantime.
Thank you very much.